There is a 6-month chart of Apple Inc. You can see it right now. $700.66 is a stock that can do no wrong. This company, they rule the pop culture scene, they rule tech, they rule the stock market, they rule everything. That's reflected in their ratings on Wall Street. But are those ratings accurate? Mark Hulbert is here from Market Watch with us today. All right, Mark Hulbert, I'm going to say right off the bat, I think you make an unfair comparison between Apple and Enron. Enron, of all the companies you had to pick, huh? You went to Enron.
Right. Well, obviously I didn't sufficiently make the point on my column. I say that the comparison is unfair. I'm simply making the point that looking at the lopsidedly bullish consensus for Apple doesn't tell you anything, because that consensus was equally lopsided for Enron right before it went bankrupt. So that doesn't mean Apple is, of course, in anywhere near the same shape, of course, but it means to prove that point, you can't look at the bullish consensus on Wall Street, because, after all, they also thought Enron was going to the moon right before it went bankrupt.
Right. Yeah. Actually, I mean, I'm making a joke there at the start, but it is a good point. Let's talk about it for a second. November 2001, Enron stock very highly rated on Wall Street. Everyone thought, a month before it went bankrupt, everyone liked this stock.
The general point, I think, is to be made, and of course, it's a spectacular analogy for me to even mention Enron and Apple in the same boat, which of course is my journalistic job, is to get everyone extremely mad at me, which I did. But the point is that Wall Street in general never has met a stock it doesn't like. I mean, I give the statistics for the 1,500 stocks in the S&P 500 S&P 1500 index, all 1,500 stocks. It turns out only 1.9% of the ratings on Wall Street of those 1,500 stocks is in the sell category, which is to say that, over 95% of all the ratings on Wall Street right now are either hold or higher. And that's clearly the case. You're not going to have, it's not like Lake Wobegon where all the kids are above average. You can't have all the stocks above average. And yet, if you were to believe Wall Street, the answer is they are almost all above average. So I guess the general point, which I think is a profound one, but if I simply made it in an academic fashion, no one would have paid any attention, is don't look to Wall Street to tell you when to sell.
Yeah. And to focus on Apple for a second, it is interesting because most of them are buy. Look, the stock's at $700, right? Had a great run. They've had a great few years. Probably will have a few more great years. But, and we did a post about this, all these companies, when they get to 700, that's actually a pretty hard level to maintain for a stock. It's a lofty level, to be sure, hard to maintain. You wonder if people are missing something about Apple.
Well, that's right, and especially given the terrible track record Wall Street has about telling people when to sell. In fact, I think John Maynard Keynes, the famous economist, talked about it as career risk. If an analyst says to sell Apple and it keeps going, that's a career-ending move. But to say Apple is a buy when everyone else is saying Apple is a buy, and of course it's so captured popular attention, even if you're wrong, it's not going to be the end of your career. So of course everyone's going to jump on that bandwagon.
Right, but of course if you're one of the two guys that are saying sell Apple right now, and you can see we have a full screen up that shows there's only 2 analysts that rate Apple a sell. If you're one of those 2 guys and Apple falls below 600, falls below 600, has a stumble, doesn't do much, well, that's actually a career-making move, isn't it?
Right. It's a bold move. If it's a high-risk move. If they're right, their names will be in neon. If they're wrong, right, then as I say, there's some career risk in making that kind of a move.
Yeah. All right. Good column, Mark Hulbert. Good food for thought, sir. I didn't mean to jump on you at the beginning there. Take care, and we'll see you next week.